morning, everyone. My name is Tanya Dowhan, and I'm part of the business transformation team here at Wawanesa. We are all here today to talk about a project initiative that needs a go or no-go decision. The current process that we're talking about is new business payment handling, and the initiative would be called Cash on Demand. So let's begin. So the agenda for today is to have an overview of the current new business process, the inefficiencies encountered today for all stakeholders, an overview of the proposed process and what that will look like for you guys, the process benefits and how this will align to the company's strategic goals, what the cost savings will look like, and a timeline for rollout. And of course, questions and comments are always welcome at the end. So let's review our current new business process. This will involve 4 different stakeholders, the customer, the broker, the underwriter, and RPD, which are our billing experts. So because this involves all the stakeholders, I believe this will be of interest to all of you. So our current new business process. So the customer wants to apply for insurance. So their first step is to go to their broker. The broker will give them a quoted premium, and if that insured is happy with that quoted premium amount, they will fill out the application, sign it, fill out the check for the premium quoted amount, and both the check and the application will then be married up together and sent to the underwriter through courier. So already at this point, the insured is given one option for payment, and the check and the application are sent through mail. At this point, the underwriter is responsible for entering the application into the Guidewire system. They are also responsible for reviewing the check for non-negotiable details, and then entering the check onto the policyholder's account. The check deposit then needs to be completed by 3 p.m. that day, and our building services employee will actually pick up the deposit and drive the deposit to the bank himself. So let's talk about some of the issues that you probably all encounter on a daily basis while going through the new business process. So trouble determining if the check payment is non-negotiable. This is because we're asking our underwriters to complete billing duties that our billing experts and RPD should be handling. Struggle to prepare the check deposit with tight timelines. Again, we're asking our underwriters to complete the deposit when they're busy doing underwriter tasks, such as policy changes and endorsements on policies. Frustrated customers who can only pay by check. So as a customer, I want to pay by debit, credit card, or electronic banking, but I'm told my first payment to this insurance company can only be by check. That's got to be frustrating. Wasted time and cost mailing applications. We're living in a world that is much more electronic based, and yet we're still mailing checks and applications internally. Extra work created to correct mismatched premium differences. So again, with our current process, we're giving that insured a quoted premium, which might not be the true premium once that application gets entered. That, of course, results in manual intervention. Issues piling up to new business reconciliation. So what I mean here is we're asking our underwriters to do billing specific tasks. They have not been trained on reviewing checks for negotiable details such as stale dated, post dated, body and figure difference. This should lie with our billing experts, and because it doesn't, it sometimes creates reconciliation issues for our billing experts to correct. Let's take a look at what the proposed process would be. The proposed process would be the customer wanting to apply for insurance. So they go into their broker's office where they are again given a quoted premium. If the customer agrees with that premium, they will sign the application, fill it out. At this point, they do not have to submit payment. The broker will let them know that within a few weeks, once that application is entered, they will receive a statement of account outlining their due date for payment and the true payment amount, at which point they can make a payment through various payment options. So not only check, but credit card online at wawanesa.com or set up through electronic banking. The application at this point gets electronically submitted to the underwriting departments. So this could be through fax or email. The application is entered by our underwriters, and the statement of account is then mailed to the policyholder. At this point, the policyholder can remit payment by the due date via multiple payment options, and when this payment is received, it will be received directly in our RPD department where our billing experts lie, and all of our billing functions are actually automatically uploaded to the policy. So there are no more manual interventions reading the check for non-negotiable details, or manually entering the payment into the system. This is all done through payment file feeds. So let's talk a little bit about the benefits by stakeholder and what you guys will see. So the broker. The broker is no longer held responsible for handling that policyholder's check payment. Lots of times the broker doesn't send that check and application right away, so they're responsible for babysitting that check and making sure it gets to where it needs to go by a certain date. There are no more courier costs for the broker if everything is handled electronically. And the policyholder actually gets the great news from the broker that they no longer have one payment method. They can pay by any way they want. The customer gets the multiple payment options, confidence in no lost check payments. It happens, paper gets lost. They now don't have that fear. And a statement of account being issued to them with the due date and the correct amount. That's huge. We've had lots of customer complaints, and I think this will be a big win for our customers. The underwriter. So the underwriter is bogged down daily with underwriting tasks such as entering applications and policy changes. They don't have the time to sort through paper-based applications. They don't have the time to review checks for non-negotiable details, and they don't have time to prepare a check deposit. This will all be removed from their daily tasks, which will allow them more time in their day to handle those underwriting tasks that need their attention. RPD, they will have fewer reconciliation defects. With the review of the checks being handled by our machines and automatically applied, there won't be so many human error defects for them to reconcile. Fewer payment traces. So again, with paper, checks get lost. RPD right now is responsible for locating those checks. This will be a huge decrease for them. And fewer premium mismatch inquiries. So again, when the insured is given a quoted premium, however, their real premium is different, sometimes the insured isn't happy with the real premium, and there are mismatch inquiries that RPD actually has to handle with that policyholder. So company goals, how does this align to our company goals? Well, we're always striving for straight-through processing or minimal touch points. With the check no longer going from the insured's hands to the broker's hands to the underwriter's hands and to the bank, there are definitely minimal touch points for this check payment. And improved customer service. Multiple payment options is huge. We've heard for a long time that the customer wants more options for payment. We can now give this to them. And the statement amount with the correct amount due. Again, they want that final amount due. They don't want the quoted premium amount. And fewer touch points. So as you can see, this aligns greatly for our customers and for straight-through processing. Cost savings per FTE. So with the rollout, we actually plan to roll this out for the Maritimes region only. So one region when we have 8 to go. Right now, we have 8 regions, all that have one underwriter who does the review of the checks and the deposit. So right there, there's roughly $400,000 spent on handling the new business process currently. Then we have one FTE within remittance processing who reconciles the check defects that come out of the new business process. If we were to go to our new COD process, we would need one FTE in remittance processing to review the check payment prior to deposit, and we would need one FTE in remittance processing to handle any reconciliation defects that may still take place. So as you can see, there's a savings of $350,000 per year. Let's talk a little bit about the rollout and the timeline. So again, we want to begin this rollout with our Maritimes branch only, and we chose this region because it is a smaller region that will have a little bit less of an impact. So we want to begin November 12th to 28th. We want to start by updating all of our process flows from our current process to what the future process would look like. Any documentation, so training manuals that are on the broker portal or internally for our underwriters and RPD. And we want to begin working on our communication. So broker bulletins, emails to the underwriters, letting RPD know, we need to have all of that aligned. November 30th, we're going to send out all the communications to the stakeholders to make sure they're all aware. And we're going to give a little bit of time between the communication and go live, and that's for 2 reasons. One, we want to make sure they understand the communication and we're not just sending it out with no follow-up. So we want to allow a 2-week period for questions and comments and concerns to be addressed. And 2, the broker will need training. The underwriter will not require training and RPD will not require training. However, the broker needs to be aware of the change so that they can effectively communicate this to the insured and make sure they have insight to the statement of account being delivered to their home mailing address and their options for payment. On December 19th, we're going to go live with this. And on January 2nd, we're going to have a review meeting with all the stakeholders to gather information on how the deployment went. From this, maybe there's lessons learned or areas that we can tweak to better roll out to the other 7 regions. So as you can see, with such benefits to each stakeholder and money saved, you would think this would be a longer process to deploy. However, we can do this in under 2 months. That's the end of my presentation. I hope that you guys can all see the benefits and the cost savings to each and every one of your stakeholders. Are there any questions or comments on the subject? Thank you.